week 7, it's midterms, but we're glad you took some time out of your schedule to watch us tonight.
Tonight, we have more coverage of the undefeated volleyball team, the struggling soccer teams, and a recap of Marquette Madness. GESR starts right now.
Good evening, Marquette. I'm Jack Phillips alongside executive sports producer Kevin Wells.
And I'm Patrick Sullivan. That's not really Kevin. Let's get right into some volleyball action. Marquette volleyball has never beaten Creighton in the Ryan Tice area, and that all changed Thursday night, as number 12 ranked Creighton came to town. Early on in action, we have Lauren Speckman setting it up for Elizabeth Orff with a nice floater over the net. Later on, we have Jenna Rosenthal with the bomb, putting a hole in the arena. Marquette 2015, the first set, Allie Barber continues her hot streak. She has been absolutely on fire lately. Set point for Marquette. Barber sets it up. Barber kills it. Marquette wins the first set. Later on, Marquette keeps hitting the ball. And
you gotta love that 1-2 punch of Rosenthal and Speckman and Barber. It really just ignites the Marquette offense.
Creighton really struggling in this game. Marquette up 2-0. 23-19. Creighton is trying to get something to go, and the freshman duo of Wirtz and Orff just deny them. Match point here. Marquette sets it up for none other than Allie Barber, and Marquette gets the upset win over number 12 Creighton. Our own Andrew Goldstein was on the hand to recap the match.
Hey, by any chance, do you remember when the movie Frozen came out? Well, if you do, then you might also remember that a couple days later, the Marquette Golden Eagles beat the Creighton Blue Jays in volleyball. Since then, Creighton won 7 consecutive matches. That streak was snapped tonight as Marquette topped them in straight sets. Marquette raced out to early advantages in sets 1 and 2, fending off Creighton comebacks thanks, in most part, to Allie Barber, who had her 8th match of at least 20 kills this season.
I just tried to find holes in the defense, and like the last match, knowing like if I couldn't kill it, try to put it in play so we weren't airing ourselves out. Because our defense this game is doing a great job of keeping us in play. So if we weren't making mistakes, we'd be able to get stuff up.
The Golden Eagle block was equally brilliant, putting up 6 of its 8 rejections in the first 2 sets, which Marquette won 25-16 and 25-15.
I really am proud of everyone. Just getting our hands over the net and pressing over hard and making sure we could shut down their angles and make it a lot easier on our defense if they needed to get the ding.
Creighton actually staged a comeback in set 3. They got the match as close as 20-18, and that made both the fans and the bench a little nervous. But some more clutch attacks from Barber put Creighton away 25-21 and ran Marquette's winning streak to 7 in a row.
We got them on the ropes a little bit tonight, and I thought we had a great team effort. I think you can play that game 10 times, and I don't know that we sweep it all the time. They're pretty good.
From the Al McGuire Center, Andrew Goldstein, Marquette Wire Sports.
Well, what a win for the Golden Eagles, their second win against a ranked opponent this year, actually. But that wasn't the only success of the weekend for the Golden Eagles. So let's have a look at their matchup with Providence. So right here, starting off, a nice set and spike, but a better block from Rosenthal, giving Marquette the early 5-0 lead in the first set. A nice dig by MU next, set up from Speckman, and a little tap-in from Mosier, but Providence with a good set and return. But MU with the better dig, set, and emphatic go from the great Allie Barber. Providence could not catch her fastball. And here a set by Speckman, across to Anna Hawk with the fantastic swing. Marquette offense coming early. Now we head still in the first set. Barber's spike denied by Providence right over here, actually, but saved by Manon Javois, the set, and the changeup from Allie Barber, one of her 15 kills on the night. Second set now set up from Speckman, and the kill from Barber. Absolute fastball right there from Barber. And now we have more volleyball here and more kills. This one coming from the great Jenna Rosenthal, trying to spark the rally here in the second set. The second set here, it's a close one. Providence trying to rally and tie. A good spike from Providence right here, but a better save from Kanavadov, leading to a quick bump from Barber. And then later, the block from Rosenthal, and if that wasn't enough, the spike from Rosenthal, tying the set at 23 each. And now we head into the third after MU wins the second. A little tap from Barber, but two great saves from Providence coming up big. MU again right here with the setup from Speckman and the spike. Providence again with the return, but MU luckily would prevail as Speckman sets up Barber, just barely getting it inbounds, and MU gets the W here at the Al McGuire Center.
Let's toss it on over to the analysts for their first time tonight. Take it away, guys.
Welcome into the breakdown. I'm Daniel Macias. Guys, I'm just going to say it. How the heck did Marquette pull off that win against Creighton?
Well, first of all, I can't believe it either. I was going up to our volleyball reporter, John Hand, during the game, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Like you said, well, I think they did two things that were really effective. One is they set Allie Barber a ton. She had 21 kills, as you heard the anchors mention. She was phenomenal. But the other thing was they targeted Creighton's best hitter, Jaylee Winters, in serve-receive. They figured if you make her work on defense, make her dig out a lot of balls, she's not going to be as comfortable, and it worked. She hit under 200. Phenomenal program win for the Marquette Golden Eagles. Just what a night at the Al McGuire Center.
Alex, your take?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Andrew. I think that the way that Allie Barber hit, she had 21 kills, that's great. She hit 541. And the way that they stopped Creighton from hitting. Creighton only hit 093, and Allie Barber almost hit Creighton just from by herself. It was 21 by Barber and 27 total by Creighton.
Allie Barber had another monster weekend. Could you see her being named Big East Offensive Player of the Year?
Oh, yeah, I definitely could. She has 271 hits, and that's second compared to Julia Casts from St. John's, 284. And on top of that, she's fourth at 359, her average, and she's slowly getting better. In her past 3 games, she's hit 509, and I don't see how she couldn't.
Andrew, this really isn't a hard question, is it?
I'm going to just say this. If Allie Barber keeps hitting the way she's been hitting, anybody who doesn't vote for her for MVP needs to have their ballots taken away. Just forcibly removed. You don't get a vote now. You're an MVP timeout.
Yeah.
Allie Barber averaging just under 5 kills per set, top 5 in the conference in hitting percentage. I can't remember a singularly dominant season like this from a Big East hitter. And I was here for both Autumn Bailey and Taylor Lewis. They never did anything like this. Barber's having the best year not only of any hitter this season, but maybe in conference history.
Last question, guys. Where does Marquette finish in the Big East? Do you think they'll win it all?
It's kind of tough to say. It's always hard to predict how a young team is going to do down the stretch. I like the experience of Creighton. I think the Blue Jays are going to win the return match in Omaha on November 4th. I think Creighton will probably edge it out by just a match or so, but they're so close together. I don't think Marquette finishes any worse than second, and I think that both Marquette and Creighton make the tournament, but as for who will get the regular season crown, probably the Blue Jays. I think this loss will really wake them up.
Alex, what do you think about this?
Yeah, once again, I'd have to agree with Andrew. They still have to play Creighton one more time in Omaha, and they have to play the number 3 team, Nova, twice still. So I think it'll be tough, but I just don't think Barber can carry them all the way.
Oh, yeah, by the way, quick thing, Villanova, also on fire. They've won their last 9 sets, so not an easy match there either on Friday.
That's all the time we have. Jack, Patrick, back to you guys.
Well, coming up next, we've got coverage on the struggling soccer teams.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 120 seconds.
welcome back to the Golden Eagles Sports Report. Let's see how the soccer teams did against Providence in their weekend matchups.
Homecoming action, Marquette versus Providence men's soccer opens up with a nice save by Luis Barraza. Incredible save there, one of his 3 of the day. Marquette taking it out. Next up, we got a shot on goal. Tries to lob it in. Nothing there. Keeper saves it for Providence. Marquette trying again, one of their 3 shot attempts. Bounces off Providence's head. Marquette gets it back, shoots it again. Scrambling for the ball is Providence. Keeper eventually gets it back. Providence playing good defense as of yet. Providence centering kick to Danny Griffin. Danny Griffin gets it past the goalie and scores. Providence up 1-0 with about 18 minutes in. Nice pass for Providence. Corner kick for Marquette, trying to get something to go. And nothing much there for Marquette. Providence taking it back. Providence keeps it going. Incredible defense from them so far.
Not allowing anything for Marquette. It's been a really tough outing here for the Eagles.
Very low-scoring game. There's a goal by Jason Davis. His first of the season and his first with the Golden Eagles.
A crucial tie for Marquette there to even the score 1-1.
71st minute, second half. And another goal for Providence. For Marquette. Another goal for Marquette. Luca Perpa.
Luca Perpa actually had a great freshman season, so it's really nice to see him coming back into his sophomore year, having a great season so far this year.
That's right. And Providence here on offense.
Now we head into women's soccer, coming off 2 straight wins. Confidence high, but early in the game, it's the Flyers' Amber Birchwell one-on-one with Maddie Henry. She just taps it in, and a score for Providence, giving them the 1-0 lead, a lead that would, in fact, not change. And now we head later into the game, where it'll actually be Madison Dunker trying to get something going for Marquette. A very big long ball, but it's saved by Shelby Hogan, one of her 6 saves on the entire day. Now we hit the 25th minute now. Emily Hess with a long shot, and it hits the crossbar just barely too high for the tie. Still a 1-0 lead for Providence. Their defense and offense was just a little too much for the Golden Eagles throughout the entire game. And getting the ball out of the box right there is Providence. Very next play, you see Maddie Henry with a pretty nice save. 1 of 2 saves on the entire game, which is pretty rare to see Maddie Henry, because usually you see her fill up the stat sheet a little bit more than usual. But now it's MU knocking on the door in the second. A nice knock away from Hogan right there. MU would have 2 more tries right here again with the next kick, but they just couldn't get it. MU actually picked up a foul right there, a key missed opportunity for the Golden Eagles. And now we're actually going to head later into the second period of the game, and it's Marquette's very own Erin Johnston putting the ball down and trying to get a shot off, and she'll get it off, and it heads just wide left. Hogan pushed it out of bounds. A great game from Hogan, 6 saves on the entire day. And now we had just barely a minute and 30 seconds later. It's booted. It's going to end up being booted downfield by Marquette. They're trying to get anything going here late, and it's off to the races for Darian Powell, one-on-one with Hogan, but Hogan makes the saves. MU fans want a foul, but they wouldn't get one. MU loses the heartbreaker to Providence, 1-0 here at Valley Fields. They're 2-3-0 in conference, and they host Xavier. That game also at Valley Fields this coming Saturday, October 14th. We're going to send it over to our lovely analysts who are going to break down how the men and women's soccer teams are doing. Guys?
Let's start out with men's soccer team. They drew against Providence, the team projected to win the Big East, 2-2. Does this give them any sort of momentum going forward, Alex?
Momentum-wise, probably. I think Providence not what they were supposed to be. They're 2-7-2, which is better than Marquette's 1-8-2. But I mean, a tie, it'll get you there. But I think that they barely lost. They lost at a PK right at the end. So I think that it'll help Marquette push towards the end. So yes, I think a little bit of momentum.
Andrew, could a draw potentially push Marquette forward into the end of the season?
Well, really, any momentum in terms of winning matches is pretty much a moot point. You've got one conference win. You're not within a country mile of making the NCAA tournament, not even within a mile of making the Big East tournament. So really, right now, the momentum is about performances. So the question isn't, is Marquette going to get more wins? I think the question is, can Luca Perpa develop? Can that backline keep things together? Can we start to see a future for this program over the next couple of matches? And I think that's certainly possible. But any kind of surprise run is, well, the ship on that is pretty much sailed by this point. But I think that could definitely be a possibility where you see some of the younger guys start to perform better.
The women's soccer team jeopardized their chances of making the Big East tournament with their devastating loss of Providence. Does this team have one last run in them, Andrew?
Well, right now, the women's soccer team is out of the frying pan and into the fryer. You get it, Providence Friars. You know, some laughing would be appreciated. But no, their next two matches, home for Xavier and then at Georgetown, the number 1 and number 2 teams in the entire conference. They certainly can have a run, but it is not going to be easy, and they're going to need much sharper play from their forwards in order to make that happen. Carrie Madden had 2 goals against DePaul, silenced against Providence. She's going to need to be a major factor if they're going to overcome what right now are 2 much better teams.
Alex, your take.
Yeah, they started the season really strong at 7-2-1, and then the second half of the season, the last 6 games, they're 2-4. So it's been a rough second half, and like Andrew said, they have to play Georgetown and Xavier. But after that, it's Seton Hall and it's Creighton. And Creighton's at the bottom of the table, and Seton Hall's third to last, so hopefully they can finish those last 2 games strong.
All right, well, a topic that we've been debating for the whole season for Marquette, it seems like this arguably is the biggest question of the night. Is Louis Bennett's job in jeopardy if the men cannot turn around their season?
Well, Bennett, I'm sorry, but it definitely is. I think maybe you give him one more season, but other than that, after 2013 Sweet 16, he hasn't done much. It's been 6th and 9th and 9th and 9th. I mean, I don't see how the team's getting any better, to be honest.
Andrew, you seem like you have a hot take in you.
No, well, my take's pretty much the same as Alex's. I mean, after 4 seasons of missing the NCAA tournament, you get top midfield recruits, Luca Perpa and Christian Albello. This was supposed to be the year that, at least if they didn't make the NCAA tournament, you would see some sort of progress. And instead, they're playing undisciplined. The back line is an absolute disaster. And at some point, the Bucks got to stop with the head guy. So I like Louis. He's a good guy, but he's got to go. This team needs a fresh start.
That's all we have for this segment. Back to Jack and Patrick.
Well, coming up next, we've got some Marquette Madness to recap, so don't go away, because we'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Golden Eagle Sports Report. It's time to talk some madness.
We got our first look at the women's and men's basketball teams this weekend, with both squads scrimmaging in front of the packed house at the Al.
Hey, look out!
What? Oh, don't worry, that's just Wojo falling off his ATV.
That's right, I almost forgot. We also saw Wojo's standard craziness, the Golden Eagle proposing to Coach Keeger, and Danielle King sporting a championship belt and some solid dance moves.
For more on the Friday Madness, our executive sports producer, Kevin Wells, recapped all the action, starting with the defending Big East champion women's team.
It's finally here, the kickoff to the 2017-18 college basketball season, and Friday night fans filled the Al McGuire Center to cheer on their defending Big East champions, the Marquette women's basketball team. The banner was unveiled, fans were going crazy, and it was time to send it to a familiar voice, Mike Jakubowski.
Junior from Chicago. Number 5, Tisha. Hey. Number 12, Erica Davenport.
Jakubowski did a great job revving up the fans. As you can see here, they're all having a great time. But there was one message that had yet to be heard, and it was from head coach Carolyn Keeger.
Our new theme is Fly Higher, and we want to take this program farther than we've ever been before. And we need your help, we need your support. Let's pack the L this year. We are!
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, I'm Kevin Wells, Marquette Wire Sports.
Our always hard at work Kevin Wells also recapped the men's side of things.
The men's portion of Marquette Madness kicked off with fans holding their breaths as Steve Wojciechowski hit the floor. And it continued with a whole lot of this. You can even see Australian center Harry Froling nailing threes, something that will certainly give Marquette a new dynamic. As for Steve Wojciechowski, his message was simple.
Make sure you show up, you're loud, and let's have one of the best years in the history of Marquette basketball. Thank you very much.
From the Al McGuire Center, I'm Kevin Wells, Marquette Wire Sports.
Now that we have an idea about what the 2017-18 basketball season will look like, let's send it over to the analyst desk to get their mad, crazy takes from the madness. Guys?
Well, Patrick, here's a hot take off the cuff. Following the performance on Friday, Marcus Howard will be the Big East Player of the Year.
Whoa!
Spicy enough for you?
Oh, my goodness, that's a ghost pepper of a take.
Sorry, guys. Maybe I'll dial it back a little bit. Marcus Howard was the most efficient three-point shooter in the country last year. He shot 54%. That's better than Steph Curry numbers. Do you think that he can develop his game further, or is he going to have a sophomore slump? Andrew?
Well, I think that Marquette fans shouldn't expect him to shoot 54% from three again. Defenses are going to key in on him. I think they're going to have to be satisfied with a merely great season, say like 45, 46%, not a transcendent one. But I also don't think that as much of the focus is going to be on him. This is going to be more of a rebounding team. Coach Wojo said that at Media Day. You've got athletic freshmen coming in. So even though Marcus Howard probably isn't going to shoot 54% again just because of the law of large numbers, the good news is that he probably won't need to.
What's your take?
Yeah, I agree. Teams are going to realize that Howard's a really good shooter, and they're going to have to start to guard him. I think that the shooting percentage will go down a little bit, but he'll still be a really good player. Developmental-wise, I think he averaged 2 turnovers a game last year, which was second on the team. So I think if he works on his handles a little bit more, I think we'll be in great shape.
All right, well, finally, what are expectations for both the men and women's squad this year? Alex?
Honestly, for the women, I see another title. I see a team that got 3 great freshman recruits, including a redshirt freshman coming up. And I see a team that has back their MVP, Eliza Blockton, who averaged it last year 17 points a game. And men's-wise, I see Howard and Hauser, 2 freshmen coming back. They both shot 45 from Hauser and 50 from, 50 from Howard. And so I see another really good season coming back for Marquette.
Andrew, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think the men are going to be right on the bubble, round 7th, maybe 6th in the conference, and I think it's going to come down to 1 or 2 key games. But I'm more excited about the women this year. I think they're a second weekend team in the NCAA tournament, and I think they're definitely a Big East championship team. Not just Big East tournament champions, but Big East regular season champions too. DePaul lost a lot of their core from last year, and most notably Jessica January, their standout point guard. Creighton, who was the only other team who was close to them in the regular season standings last year, had something like 7, 8 seniors graduate, everyone from Marissa Janning to Audrey Faber to Brianna Rollerson. A lot of the keynote names in the Big East just aren't there this year, and meanwhile, Marquette's returning all but one of its starters, including Alizea Blockton, who averaged 17.6 points per contest last year, and who I think is the odds-on favorite to be Big East Player of the Year. So I think that when we come to Madness next year, Coach Giger is going to be able to point up at another Big East title banner in the rafters. And quite frankly, I'm really looking forward to this season. This will be a fun year for both teams.
Well, another question that comes up a lot is the MVP race. Who is your MVP for this year for the Marquette basketball team, men's and women?
I'm going to have to go back with Howard because he is doing really well, and he's going to do really well. And then on the women's, it's going to be Blockton.
All right, that's all we have here. Let's toss it back to Patrick and Jack up top to close us out.
Well, thanks, Daniel. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for joining us on the Golden Eagle Sports Report. I'm Jack Phillips.
And I'm Patrick Sullivan. Good night, Marquette.